This guy had a girlfriend for the whole time we were together. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Welcome back. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to my channel. Hey guys, and welcome back. So, I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. Oh, hi, Daisy. Say hi. Hello. Hello. So, I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. I have this story that none of you guys will ever believe. And I felt like I had to do a story time to tell you guys this, but I am the most awkward person ever, so I can't just sit here and tell you a story time. So I thought, I like makeup. I don't know about you guys, but I like makeup. So I'm just gonna do my makeup while I talk to you guys. Girl to girl, girl to guy, let you know the tea. So you know what? Grab your cup of tea, grab your wine, grab whatever you need to make it through this video because man, it is a crazy one. So rewind it back to 2015. I was a crazy 21-year-old and I just decided I want to go travel. So I thought, what better way to go and travel than to move to Europe? When I told my parents I was gonna move to Europe, you should have seen their faces. My mom just looked at me like, no you're not, shut up. But I was crazy. I got 3 jobs, I saved up a ton of money, and then I booked a one-way flight over there. I ended up looking at this room renting website that was similar to Craigslist. I do not know how I did not get axe murdered. So I found some people who were willing to rent a room to me and I just left. I was just absolutely crazy. When I got there, I was able to find a job within a couple of weeks of being there. So when you first move to a place, there's a couple of things you have to do. You have to get furniture, you have to find a job, you have to get a travel card, and you have to get a Tinder and a Bumble. This brings me to the part of the story where I end up meeting this guy. So I matched with Charlie about February 2016. So I had not been there for very long. Of course, he caught my eye, he was attractive, he was hot, he was muscly, he was just my type. Now, of course, me back then, I was a little playa. So I was dating everyone under the sun. But this guy, I don't know what it was, he just caught my eye. He was very persistent. So Charlie was messaging me every single day. He just kind of grew on me. He was like that random guy that just kind of grew on me. I was laying in bed one night and he said to me something that usually in like Tinder culture you don't say. He said, "Do you want me to call you?" So I was just like, sure. I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of weird. So Charlie calls me and the first thing he says, he gets on the phone and the first thing I notice about him is that he has an Irish accent. So for me, I don't know about you guys, I just started getting those One Direction, Niall Horan flashbacks where I was just like, ooh. I was feeling the Irish accent. Feeling it. So we ended up talking on the phone that night for like 4 hours and he asked me if I wanted to go on a date with him and I could not say yes fast enough. I was so excited to meet this guy. Friday rolls around and we plan to meet after work in a really busy part of London called Tower Bridge, which if I was ever meeting any guys off the internet, I was always gonna do it in a more public place because, you know, stranger danger. So I'm sitting there in the tube station and I don't know if any of you guys understand like the public transportation in London, but it's similar to New York City. So the tube station is similar to the subway station. So I'm sitting there waiting for him and I feel a tap on my shoulder and I turn around and it's this Charlie guy. So I noticed, I'm like, okay, he looks like he does in the pictures. He's super hot. I'm freaking out. So Charlie suggests that we go down the street to a little French restaurant. We end up going to this French restaurant. The conversation is flowing, just like when we were on the phone the other night. And I'm just like really feeling this guy. So it comes time for the bill. I never would have went out if I would have felt like I didn't want to at least split the bill with the guy. That's just me personally. So I was like, oh, well, like, I'll get it. Thinking he's gonna be like, oh, no big deal. Because that's usually what a guy does. So Charlie looks at me and he's like, okay. I'm like, I didn't mean the whole thing, but. So I slowly pull out my card and I put my card down across the table and Charlie just watches me do it. The guy comes and picks my card up and he let me pay for the whole meal. Not just for myself, not splitting it, the whole meal. So I kind of just let it go. I was like, okay, whatever. You just lost a couple cool points in my bucko. I'll like give him a chance, you know, maybe he's just having an off day. That's probably not how he is always. And he ends up walking me back to the tube station. And I'm just like freaking out because of course I'm still attracted to him, even though he was a little bit of a douchebag and let me pay for the bill. When we get to the tube station, he like grabs me around the waist, he flips me around and he looks at me and he just says, "I have a really good feeling about you." And he plants one on me. I'm just like, in my mind, I'm just like, boom, 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 boom. I'm freaking out. I have butterflies up to my freaking eyebrows. So at the end of the date, after Charlie kisses me, he looks over to me and he says, "Oh, by the way, my name's not actually Charlie. My name's Joseph. I can't use Charlie because I have some big fancy schmancy job. And so I can't use it for my Tinder and Bumble." So me, being the little gullible Michaela that I was, thinking to myself, oh yeah, obviously you're just so successful. You can't be using your real name to Tinder and Bumble. Psh, for peasants. So basically what happens is things after that date ended up going really quickly with us. We end up becoming boyfriend and girlfriend probably within like a month of us dating. And we're just spending like every single weekend together, getting on like a house on fire. And everything just seemed totally fine. Then, about a month after we became official, so boyfriend and girlfriend, not just dating, but boyfriend and girlfriend, I noticed that Joseph still hasn't accepted my friendship request on Facebook. So I bring it up to him, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I never go on there, I never use it." In my mind now, looking back, that's a red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. Ended up finally accepting my friendship request, but almost all of his stuff was on private. Fast forward about 4 months into us dating. Joseph had told me when we first started dating that he had a boys trip to Amsterdam booked. And me not thinking anything of it, I'm like, oh yeah, whatever, he had it before we started dating. You go with your boys, have fun. So the whole time Joseph's in Amsterdam, he's calling me, he's FaceTiming me, he's telling me he misses me, everything that you'd want your boyfriend to say to you when he's away with his boys, because you know we are all on a little bit of an edge when they're on the boys' vacations. So while Charlie was out there, he actually got me this mug that said like, "I love you," and it had Amsterdam all over it. This trip and that mug will have significance later on in the story. So he comes back from Amsterdam, everything goes back to normal, and we are perfect. So about 6 months into our relationship, we're having a quiet evening in, and we're watching a movie. So Charlie asks me to pause the movie, and he goes upstairs in his room. He's like, "Babe, like, I'll be right back. I just have to go grab something." So I'm sitting there in his living room. Mind you, I don't live with him, so I'm literally just sitting there with his roommates. He ends up texting me about 20 minutes after he went upstairs and saying, "Oh babe, I'm just gonna pop out to the store." So in my mind, I'm like, well, why didn't you come in and just tell me? We could have went together. So I have red flags going off in my head, and I've been cheated on before. So in my mind, I'm like, what was he doing that he had to leave the house because he needed more time away from me? So I just sat there, I didn't say anything, I just waited for him to come back. And when he came back, now I'm gonna make myself sound like I'm a complete psycho, and I'm not. This is not how I ever have been, but this guy made me absolutely crazy. So I said to him, I said, "Who are you on the phone with?" He ends up just saying, "Oh, I was on the phone with my brother." Now I'm gonna name his little brother David. We're on the edge here, people. We're trying to get as close to the names without actually saying them. Now, I don't know what it is, but I feel like a woman's intuition is 90% right. Okay, I may be being a little bit generous with that 90%, but at least 85% of the time, a woman's intuition is right on. But I end up saying, "Okay, you were on the phone with your little brother. Let me see the phone call." Just to, you know, just for my peace of mind. So he pulls up the phone records and I see that it said David. Something just said to me, I don't know what it was, "Michaela, click on the call." So I click on the call and I see that in the little contact picture, there's a picture of a girl. So there was his little brother's name and a picture of a girl. So he had went in and renamed the contact that was obviously previously a girl, his little brother's name, just in case I asked to see his phone, which I don't know how he even thought I would because I had never asked to see his. And he ended up switching the names so that I wouldn't be able to tell that he was on the phone with a girl. So me, I'm just like, Okay? You want to be shady? Took his phone, threw his phone back at him. We're done, dude. He's standing in front of the door. He's crying like it's just a friend. Nothing happened. Obviously, if there's nothing to worry about, you would have just told me that it was a girlfriend. You are a big fat liar. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen a person with sociopathic tendencies cry. It looked like it was almost painful. I totally just got foundation in my hair because I wasn't paying attention. So I had been cheated on before, so I was just like, you know what, dude? No. If you loved me like you said you did, then screw you. That is not love. Bye, Felicia. I ended up remembering that this girl in the picture looked kind of similar to a picture that he had on his Facebook with one of his ex-girlfriends. Let's call her Jessica. How I had known what his ex-girlfriend looked like is I had went down the big huge rabbit hole of Facebook. You search the photos, the tagged photos, the tagged photos of the tagged photos. You just find out their exes. I'm sure everyone does that. Maybe it's just me. Jessica ends up on her Instagram, posted a photo with him a couple days after we had broken up. Obviously, he was planning on meeting up with her anyways. So you may think that this girl is what this YouTube title is about, but nay. This was one of the girls that this YouTube title is about. Couple of weeks go by and I was kind of trying to get over him, and I come home from work. There's a bouquet of flowers on my doorstep. I look at the card and of course they're from Joseph, and so I just ignore them. So this guy has the nerve to later that night show up at my house after he had done all of this crap and beg for me back. Literally beg. When I say beg, I mean beg. What will I have to do? You're the love of my life. I took him back. Yeah, I took him back. I must have had freaking idiot pasted across my forehead. Dumbass. Like, I mean, how many girls can say that they've taken the cheater back? Probably a lot, because every single guy is a cheater, except for my lovely John. So now we're coming up to about a year now that we have been together, and I'm just like, oh, you know, we've made it through this. We can make it through everything that life throws our way. I had wondered why he had never invited me to come back to visit his family in Ireland. Obviously, he had went back a couple of times, but he had never invited me. So he was super hesitant about it, but he ends up agreeing. So we end up booking some flights to go back to Ireland. And when we got there, his family was absolutely amazing. They were so nice. In my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, these could be my future in-laws. I'm in love with your son. I got to look all over Ireland. His parents were amazing. His brother was super nice. So we're nearing the end of the trip. It's about a day and a half before we go home. And we're sitting there at the dinner table. I just so happened to glance down and see on his phone, there was a text message from his little brother saying, yeah, dude, where do you want me to hide it from her? I'm just like, you hide what from me? So we go up to his room later and I ask him about the text message, and he's just like, no, shitting himself. Obviously, what are you hiding from me? So I'm just like, again, not a psych. I feel like I had the right to look. I asked him to open up his phone because in my mind I'm like, oh my gosh, he's cheating on me again. He ends up opening his phone and he had asked his little brother to hide all of the stuff that was in his memory drawer in a suitcase and put it up in the attic. I definitely need to see what's in this suitcase. I can't trust you. You keep going behind my back. I didn't think that I had to worry about this crap anymore. So he ends up saying, well, if I show you what's in the suitcase, then you won't want to be with me anymore. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well then I definitely need to see what's in that suitcase. So he ends up going and getting the suitcase after I had said, like, I'm gonna book a flight home right now. It was a bunch of old stuff from old girlfriends. I told him, I was like, why would you freak out about this? Obviously you have exes and they were a big part of your life, so I get you not wanting to throw away, you know, like mementos from previous relationships. So I start looking a little bit more into the suitcase and I see a bunch of birthday cards. I cannot make this stuff up. There was a birthday card from his girlfriend from his birthday 3 months before. 3 months before I was in Ireland with his family, he has a birthday card from his girlfriend saying, I love you, baby. That mother freaker. He has the nerve. He has the nerve to tell me that that was from his crazy ex-girlfriend that wouldn't leave him alone. I'm sorry, you're cool, but you know what? You are not that cool. You are not that amazing that some girl is just gonna be sending you birthday cards not wanting to leave you alone. So mind you, I am stuck in Ireland now for a whole another day and a half. So I'm just sitting there awkwardly with his family after I just found out he had another girlfriend almost the whole time that we were together, waiting to go home on my flight because the flights were like $500 and I was living in London as a poor person. So I get back to London and of course I delete him off of everything. I'm just like, Bay. When his guard was down and he was still begging for me back, he had given me the name of this girl because I had asked him. And so I put on my private investigator hat and I'm just searching on Facebook. I end up finding this girl on Facebook. There was 2 girls with this name that lived in London, and it just so happened that one of them was this girl. So me being that girl, I message her and I'm just like, listen, this is what happened. I was dating this guy named Joseph for about a year and a half, and I saw that there was some cards from you to him, and I'm just trying to get this story straight. So she ends up being like, can I call you? So inside I'm like, we get on the phone and this girl tells me that she has been with him for 5 years. 5 years. So the whole time that we were dating, he was with her as well. He had just broken up with her 2 months before, the month after his birthday. So the only reason that I was able to go home with him was because they had broken up literally 2 months prior. Him and her had went ring shopping because they were planning on getting engaged, and they had just previously went house shopping because they were going to move in together. So we put 2 and 2 together, and I had told her how he had cheated on me with his ex-girlfriend Jessica, the one who he had cheated on me with the phone call and going to hang out with her. So basically we put 2 and 2 together that he had not only been together with me and her at the same time, but he had also been together for a year and a half with Jessica and her at the same time. Out of their 5-year relationship, 3.5 years of it, he was with a whole nother girl. So as we started comparing stories a little bit more, we figured out that the trip that he took to Amsterdam with his guy friends was actually a trip that he took with his girlfriend, the one of 5 years, and he was calling me and FaceTiming me whenever he'd leave the room or whenever she'd leave the room and he was by himself. He had the nerve to buy my mug while he was with her, and the reason why she didn't question that it said I love you is because he said that it was a mug for his mom. The reason why he had to wait a whole year and a half of us dating before he could bring me home was because his family knew about the 5-year girlfriend but not any of the other girlfriends. So he had to wait until he broke up with the 5-year girlfriend, which is truly why I think he broke up with her in the first place, was because I kept bugging him to take me home. Cross my heart, I literally cannot make this shit up. So when that happened to me, it was literally the worst thing that could have ever happened because I barely knew anyone over there. My boyfriend had just cheated on me. I felt so alone, but it was such a growing experience. I learned that you can't trust everyone. You can't trust everyone with your heart. You just have to proceed with caution. It made me a lot more guarded until I met my future husband, John. And it took the right guy to come into my life to break down those walls again, to make me trust and really restore my faith in the male gender. I am honestly so glad that he did what he did because I can't imagine him ending up with anyone else besides John. So this is the finished look, guys. Let me know below if you guys like this style of video. I'd love to do more of these. I have so many crazy story times from my dating experience from living in London. Basically, most of them were because I dated so many guys over there. But yeah, let me know if you guys like this style of video. I'd love to do more of these. If you have any more recommendations, clothing hauls, makeup tutorials, anything else, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna try to post videos once every week, but we'll see. Like, it's just based on what's going on in my life. Another thing that I would love to do is maybe like some wedding prep videos. Obviously I'm doing a lot of DIY for my wedding, so I've got a lot of stuff coming up with that. So if you guys want to see any of that stuff, let me know as well. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys, though. Let me know anything else you guys want to see from me. On that note, I love you guys. Thanks for watching my video, and I will see you guys soon.